I love you. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes, to another exciting, riveting, fantabuloso, beautiful episode.
Explosions!
Exploso episode. I am the Green Traveler from Gorge.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Welcome to Green and Faceless on the Couch. It's a podcast.
Yay!
It's about movies and TV.
It is! That's what we do here. We watch movies, we watch TVs, we talk about them. We don't analyze. Don't come here for analyzations. We don't do that shit.
We don't analyze?
Not really. I mean,
not
I guess
like,
sometimes we do.
Sometimes. Yeah, but not like, a college essay or anything.
No, we're not that smart. I'm not that smart.
I mean,
you can be that smart.
Well, thanks. I quite liked the college paper that I wrote on The Dark Knight.
That's fair. I am not a good essay writer. That was like that's my biggest weak link when it came to college, was whenever they'd be like, write this essay, I'd be like, you don't want to read my essays. I can talk out my ass like none other, but when it comes to writing, I stick to fiction.
Oh, see, for me, it's me talking out of my ass. And then they're like, hey, this is pretty good, A+. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was bullshit. Like, I wrote this paper on the meat dress. You remember the meat dress? Lady Gaga's meat dress? I wrote a paper on that, and the teacher really liked it. And I was like really bullshitting about, I am not up on current events. Like...
Yeah, that's when I write, it comes across as obvious bullshit, and I feel like
gotcha.
And I feel like my professors in college were not fooled. They were just did you do any research? And I'm like, I did do research. It's called Wikipedia.
I mean, see, I used Wikipedia as well, but I followed the sources that they had. Yeah,
you went to the bottom of the page. I didn't do that.
Yeah. That's what you gotta do.
I'm pretty bad at that shit. Well, I mean, I would do that, but I wouldn't click on the source. I wouldn't go there and read it from their perspective. Gotcha. I would just, read Wikipedia, then go to the bottom and be like, copy paste. I did it.
That's my citation.
Not that I plagiarized. I didn't copy paste the Wikipedia words. I would write my own words.
Copy pasted the citation. I gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah. I
did get flagged for plagiarism one time. No. Let's move on.
You naughty boy, you.
I wasn't trying to. It was like one of my first papers, and they're like, okay, we want you to turn in what you have. And basically what I had was copy and pasted notes from different sources and stuff. And they're like, this is clearly from other websites and stuff. We think this is plagiarism. And like, apparently a lot of people in the class got this flag because, they said, please, if you got this flag, just come and talk to us afterwards so we can explain. And there was so many people that lined up to talk to the teacher's aides. And I was like, okay, I mean, I got to go to class. I mean, I understand by the note that you left what I did. Yeah. I just didn't realize that was... I didn't get it.
Well, I mean, that's on them for calling for it early, for like, let us see what you got. Well, if you ask for that, you're going to get that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, wait until it's fucking done.
I just have some research. Like, I barely started researching it. Yeah. It's college. We do it 2 days before. Come on.
Yeah, well, you guys did it too. That's why I didn't fit in college, because I do everything in spurts. Once you give me an assignment, I start that day, but I don't do a lot that day. I just, I even it out so that by the time the last 2 weeks occur, I'm done and just, I'm honing
I definitely wish I did that more. And I definitely did my first senior year of undergrad. I only had to take one more semester, and it was really just to get Spanish. I failed German 200.
I will say that I too wish you had done that more, because I remember many days of being like, hey man, what are you up to? And you're like, I gotta work on this paper. And I'm like, that paper you've had a month to work on? Yeah, but I haven't done any of it yet. All right, I'll go sit in my room and play video games while you do this.
Well, I am so sorry that I was just the only person to hang out with.
You inconvenienced me so much. No.
All right, let's talk about these movies.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, this is very exciting for me. We had a free slot in our schedule, and I pitched to you two of my favorite films of all time. They definitely make the top 50. One of them definitely makes the top 20. The other one might as well be in the top 20 now. Like, I've only seen it once, so that was the only reason it wasn't in my top 20. But now that I've seen it twice, I really fucking love it. I also, just to put it out there, I don't have a solidified top 20. Like, if people are gonna ask later on, like, what are your top 20? I don't fucking know. It's just a random number I'm assigning things.
That'll be our next playlist.
Oh
Green
my god,
Travelers top 20.
That would be so damn difficult to figure out. Like, I would have to look at, like, 5,000 to 10,000 films and cipher it down to just 20. That'd be impossible. It's so hard. But no, I have long loved, and we've talked about this. We have to put a caveat up front. We are ignorant Americans, and when it comes to pronouncing Chinese names, Chinese words, we're gonna butcher them, and we're very sorry. We
have a very rough place to start. Like, very few Chinese people in our lives, and also we are aware that not all the performers in these shows are Chinese.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're going to butcher your names, and we're sorry, but we do want to give you the credit for your awesome performances. So.
Yeah, exactly, because it's amazing. I love these movies again, and I've long been a fan. And this is the first word I'm going to butcher, I'm sure, of Wuxia films. I've always called it Wuxia. Maybe it's Wuxia. I'm sorry, I don't know. No idea.
I've heard Wuxia, and that's probably definitely not right. So
right, yeah, I've no fucking clue. WUXIA, Martial Hero films. They're awesome
cool.
films.
That's what usually I know about them.
Usually they're fighting films mixed with romance that have lots of, wire art or fighting scenes, like high wire fighting scenes where the actors are hooked to wires and the wires are edited out, and they can perform amazing stunts impossible to man and woman. Like, it's incredible. I love these films. I went on a huge kick back in college. The very first one I watched in my freshman year, I think I watched it for a class, I'm not sure. One that we're talking today, one of my favorite all-time films, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I remember watching it in my freshman year. It was one of those, I was lucky enough in freshman year to have a roommate who immediately moved out within 3 weeks, and so I had a beautiful college dorm room all to myself, which allowed me the ability to just set up my computer and marathon films when I decided I didn't want to fucking go to class, which was a lot. I didn't go to class a lot. I'm a bad student. But I went through a phase where I just, there was probably a solid 3 or 4 months where all I did was watch fighting films, like Muay Thai Warrior, obviously the two we're talking today, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, House of Flying Daggers, Shadow, the Grandmaster, the Hitman trilogy. Like, I watched so many, like a lot of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan films.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh man, yeah. But no, I fucking love these films. It's so weird because it's like a lot of them, being fighting films, being these movies that have these intricate action scenes where people are fighting on in camera. And, it's like a lot of fists flying, a lot of like,
a lot of people flying.
But it's just like, you've got all this stuff, and yet still a lot of them mix in a little bit of romance. And I'm a sucker for romance. I've mentioned it so many times on this podcast, I love a good romance. And it's weird how in these films of constant fist fighting and kicking and all this stuff, some of the best romances occur. Like, it's really crazy how they manage to blend this beautiful thing with this very fun action fighty, beat 'em up thing.
I don't see where the line of beauty stopped though, Greenie. Like
exactly,
they're
that's
both
true.
beautiful. Yeah.
They are both beautiful, but they're different types of beauty, and it's really weird how they manage to mix them together so well. And a lot of the argument too is that when you're fighting somebody, it is kind of like, and fighting not as in like having an argument, but fighting as in working in a dojo kind of thing, like training together, that kind of stuff. That is a form of love. You are learning the dance of this person in a way nobody else will ever know. It's fascinating stuff. I love it. And I think these two films portray interesting romances, I will say. One of them has very beautiful romance stories. The other one has kind of questionable romance stories, but still at the same time very beautiful.
Yeah,
let's get into it. Let's start with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's the oldest of the two. Surprisingly not as old as I thought it was. When I watched it as a freshman, for whatever reason, I thought it was a 90s film. It's not. It's a 2000.
Well, I'm sure they filmed it in the 90s.
So yeah, exactly, yeah. Right at the turn of the century. Ang Lee. Sorry, I've always said Ang Lee. I don't know if that's actually how you would say his name. Amazing director. He went from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to Hulk, which is hilarious to me. Brokeback Mountain was in there. Beautiful movie. Maybe we'll be talking that soon. It's one of our pitches for the April potato pick.
Also, if you want to vote on that, you can go to our Facebook page. Just search Green Faceless Facebook, or you can go to our YouTube page if you're listening on YouTube. Exactly. And that's I believe the channel's called FictionWorks 19. But anyways, you can go there, and there's a poll on each site. So go at it.
Please vote. Please.
Yeah. I'd like you to vote on our next patron suggested episode, the Potato Pick.
No sign up needed whatsoever. You don't need to give us your email. You don't need to sign up for Patreon. We've opened it up to the people. It is a basic human right, damn it. Get out there and vote. God damn it. Get out there and vote. Do it. Let your voice be heard. Tell us what you want us to watch.
Yeah.
You only got a few more days left until we close the poll. Yeah, if you make it Brokeback Mountain, we'll be talking Ang Lee again in just a couple of weeks, which is very exciting. I love that movie.
I've never seen it, so I do want to see it.
Very surprising. Yeah. That shocks me as an LGBT member, lover, everything.
Yes.
It is one of those films that kind of broke the mold to open up cinema in that regard.
But at the time when it came out, it was very taboo. It was very taboo even to talk about the movie.
I remember when my mom and dad watched it. I don't think we watched it together, but I remember when they watched it, and it was so funny. It was kind of adorable how they would just be like, "Yeah, we watched that movie about the gay cowboys."
The gay cowboys.
It was just like, oh, really? Did you know? How exciting! Do tell.
Did you like it, Dad? No. I mean, did you like it, guys?
They both love it. They both love it.
It's
but Ang Lee, he's got a very versatile filmography. I mean, even Life of Pi, more recently, The Gemini Man, and
not seen that.
What was his most recent film? I can't remember what it was called. Hold on a second. I'll get it pulled up here in just a lickety split. Oh, I guess Gemini Man. Gemini Man was his most recent one. There was before that was Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, which I read the book. I did not watch the movie, but crazy filmography. It's all across the board, many different things. But here with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, he brought another book to life. This is probably, I think it's like the fourth or fifth book in a series, but you don't really need to know the rest of the story to get what's going on here because he mixes everything in pretty freaking well. You start off with the beautiful Michelle Yeoh, now Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I love Michelle Yeoh. Congrats. That's amazing.
She is pretty amazing.
She really is. And if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, get the fuck out there and see it. It's still my favorite film of last year.
I thought all just up front, I thought all the acting was really well done in this film. But I think that yes, but I think hers and Zhang Ziyi, I think theirs really shone through. Above the really male leads.
And that's part of the beauty of this movie is it looks at the female in Chinese society at this time period. This is like the 18th century, I think.
Maybe
it was the 19th century.
I'm going to find it for you.
Oh, dang it! It's in the Qing Dynasty, but that's a 300-year period.
Yeah,
that doesn't help me at all. But anyways, as you're looking that up, it focuses on 3 women in this era who, they're all fighting back against their role. You've got Michelle Yeoh as Yu Shulian. Did you find it?
I didn't find when they found it, but when this movie was set, that is. But I'm gonna guess that it was honestly earlier in this dynasty because there are no white people around, and I know in the late 1800s the English were all up in there, and the Qing dynasty went until 1912, which I didn't know.
Okay,
that's crazy.
I looked it up real quick. The book, at the very least, is early 18th century, so that works with what you're saying because that's early 1700s. So
there you go.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And again, Michelle Yeoh is Yu Shulian, she's now the head of we would call it a security agency kind of thing. She her father started this. I'll just call it a security agency. It's a very English way to put it, but that's basically what it is. And now, after the death of her father, now she is the head. But at this time, that's not really, a woman's place, if you will. Mm. And she still has a lot of this, people respect her. They definitely respect and honor her, but they still refer to it as her father's company. They still refer to her as just in command at the moment kind of a thing. And we'll call him her best friend, Li Mubai, played by the amazing Chow Yun-fat. He is a very respected warrior, monk now, and he and her have great feelings for each other. But she was betrothed to his best friend, and his brother. His brother. Well, I think he called her his brother in arms, kind of a thing. I think they were.
I just caught that it was his brother. It's told by another character, right? Is it told by the nursemaid
eventually
character?
Tells Jin, I believe. I believe she eventually tells Jin the story. Jin.
Okay.
Yeah. This whole movie is in subtitles, so it's really hard to relay certain things because. I mean, again, I've seen this movie 4 or 5 times, so I don't know the personal details, but I do know the story fairly well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't remember if they are actually brothers or just close friends who kind of like you and me,
kind of like reader, so I could have missed it.
Yeah, I think her betrothal is the man who died. I think it's very similar to our relationship. How we're very close friends, but we refer to each other as siblings. Gotcha. It's like because a siblings from another mother, if you will.
Yeah.
And but because he died, because Michelle Yeoh's betrothed died, they want to honor his memory. And in that honoring of his memory, they refuse to allow their feelings for each other to really shine through. And it's very sad.
At this point, they are more in love with each other than she was ever in love with this other fellow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so very obvious between how they're acting and everything because, they're both very shy around each other, and yet they they'll share stories with each other and they'll poke fun at each other. But then once a moment of romance pokes through, then they both are just like, let's crush that real quick. Let's have an awkward silence for a few seconds.
I may not be a monk anymore, but I don't think so. Not you.
That's exactly the thing. He's hanging up his sword. Chow Yun Fat. I'm going to refer to them by the actors' names as opposed to their character names.
I think
to
that's
avoid
good.
Confusion. Yeah, but yeah, Chow Yun Fat. He's hanging up his sword, the famous Green Destiny. He's passing it off to Sir Tay. Sir Tay, played by Long Si-hung. He's giving the sword away as a gift. And as Sir Tay remarks, Michelle Yeoh, do you think maybe there was a hidden meaning in that? As in, maybe him hanging up the sword means he wants to open himself up to other, possibly romantic ideas? And Michelle Yeoh is like, oh, come on, please. She's like, you're being silly. We're just great friends. And he's like, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, you're just great friends. Mm-hmm.
Dumb kids wasting time.
For fucking real, man. That's what he's saying. He's like, I think he even says he's like, you're both, you're not getting any younger, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're running out of time. Yeah,
yeah. You got to let this beautiful thing explode and experience it. At the same time that Sir Tay is hosting the Governor Yu, played by Li Fazeng. And Governor Yu's company includes his daughter, Jin Yu, played by the amazing Zhang Ziyi, I think as we mentioned, as well as her governess, who it turns out to be is Jade Fox, played by Chang Pei. And Jade Fox and Jin Yu are the other two women that make up this great trilogy of powerful females in this story, because Jin Yu's story is her whole life she has been told consistently what to do and how to live her life, because that's basically her place. She's been engaged to a man she does not like, to a family she does not like.
His name is Gao.
Gao. I didn't even remember.
The
what
only
his name
reason
was.
why I remember is because later on she beats up a whole fucking room of people, and then this one guy's like, my name is Gao, and she says, I hate you the most, and she just beats the shit out of him. And then when Michelle Yeoh and Chow Yun Fat come to investigate, they're
all like, beaten up and bruised and bandaged.
Yeah, and this guy's like really badly beat up, and it's like, why did she go after him the worst? His name's Gao. and she's like, oh, she's gonna that's her husband's name. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. No, you feel a lot for Jin Yu, because all she wants is her fucking freedom. She just wants the ability to be herself, and it's really, there's a lot of oppression going on in her life, and she finds this freedom early on in the form of a secret. Oh, what's the style that they learn? Wudong.
Wudong.
A secret Wudong teacher of Jade Fox, her governess, who is a murderer and a criminal, an outlaw.
Yeah. She's in hiding as her handmaid.
Exactly, and Jade Fox's story is that she wanted to become an apprentice for this Wudong style. She wanted to learn it and everything. But she was denied, just as Michelle Yeoh's character was denied, access into this experience because she's a woman. And as Jade Fox even says, the reason she kills Chow Yun Fat's master, who was, the master of Wudong at the time, the reason she kills him is because he was willing to sleep with her but not teach her. He would have sex with her, but he refused to teach her this fighting style. So she killed him, stole the
manuals.
The manuals, thank you. And the problem, though, is being a woman, she was never taught to read. And so she doesn't know how to read the manuals. She learned, Jade Fox, that is, played by Chang Pei again, she learned to fight based solely off the images. And she's learned how to fight really well.
Right.
But problems arise, to get into the meat of the story, when Jin Yu, in an act of kind of youthful excitement, she steals Green Destiny.
A sword.
Chow Yun Fat had gotten rid of Green Destiny. He gave it to Sir Tay, and Jin Yu saw an opportunity. She stole the sword, and that sets off this whole big issue because now people know that Jade Fox is in town. They know there's a thief. They know that, all this stuff's going on. So, and Chow Yun-Fat, he's got, revenge in his mind because he wants to kill the woman who killed his master.
Now that he knows that Jade Fox is in town.
Exactly.
So he gets the sword back eventually, but after this amazing chase scene between Michelle Yeoh and Jin. But you don't necessarily know it's Jin at this point because she is covered. Masked. Yeah. But, it's like the next scene that... Well, it's during this chase that Michelle Yeoh's character recognizes her.
Yeah, and that's another part of the beauty is, like, in the very next scene, when they're back to being in their standard societal ways, they're both, beautifully clothed and acting honorably and all that kind of stuff, and you get hints that Michelle Yeoh knows it's Jin because she sees certain ways in how Jin writes, how she writes her letters, how she moves her hand, all that kind of stuff. Michelle Yeoh drops a teacup and Jin catches it really deftly, and that's when you know for sure.
Her mother noticing.
Yeah, it's a good scene. That's when you know for sure that Michelle is on to her when she's just like, I know exactly who you are. You're the thief. You took the sword. And she even implies too. She's like, if the sword were just to be returned, no questions would be asked. We would leave. That would be the end of it. Sadly, it's not the end of it because Jade Fox challenges. Once it's known that her presence is in the town, she challenges an inspector who was searching for her because she killed the inspector's family. Son, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. She challenges him to combat basically, and he shows up with his daughter as well as this other ridiculous guy, I think Bo, played by Gao Jian. I think it's Bo. But anyways, it's a very fun fight scene where you have Jade Fox fighting these 3 people at once, and you get a sense that she's a really good fighter, but she does get overwhelmed, and her student Jin Yu, Zhang Ziyi, has to come in and save her. And when her student comes in to save her, enter Chow Yun-Fat. You've got this whole big fight brewing, and now you got Chow Yun-Fat fighting Zhang Ziyi. And Jade Fox sees something in that fight. She looks over and watches her student fight and realizes her student has mastered everything.
Her student is much better than her, yeah.
Yeah. Student's gone way beyond the talent of the teacher, and Jade is very pissed off about that because, she can't read. She doesn't know how to read these manuals.
She sees it as a deception from Jin's part.
Exactly, because Jin...
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah. Yeah, because Jen, she hid her talent. She knew how to fight way better, but she had to hide herself because she didn't want to...
She said that she surpassed her when she was 10 years old.
Yes, I mean, it is true. It's mainly because as a governess, she could read. As her position in society, she was able... I don't know if that's exactly how it is.
As a noble woman, she probably had more opportunities to learn to read.
Exactly, yeah. That's probably more right.
But she's definitely a good calligrapher. They show that.
Oh, yeah. Very beautiful. But that's really what sets it off. And then you find out a little bit more, Jade Fox and Jin Yu, they have a rift. They split. Chow Yun-Fat, he wants to train Jin Yu because he's like, you're amazing at wudong. You obviously are of master talent, but you just need a teacher now. You need somebody to hone your skills. Yeah. And he's like, I can help you. I can make you my apprentice. That pisses off Michelle Yeoh because Michelle Yeoh's character was denied being an apprentice because of her womanhood. And so, and again, she loves Chow Yun-Fat, and she's mildly worried that Chow Yun-Fat is being...
seduced.
Falling in love. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Seduced. And so it's this whole build up, mixed, like, not love triangles, but like mixed emotions and everything. And you also find out through flashbacks that Jin Yu has a lover. She ran away once to steal back her comb when her family was met by robbers on the road. What's that guy's name? Low Dark Cloud. That's right.
Yeah, Low Dark Cloud, that's right. But the actor's name is Chang Chin? Probably Chin.
Chang Chin. Yeah.
It's Taiwanese.
That's another thing about this movie is like all of the main cast are of different cultural heritages. Yeah, nationality. That's what it is. Because you got Chow Yun-fat, who's a Hong Kong actor. You've got Michelle Yeoh, Malaysian actor. Zhang Ziyi is Chinese. As you just said, Chang Chen, Taiwanese. They all have different dialects. And to make it work, they had to take so many fucking different takes because they all had to learn. I think Mandarin was just the main language they were speaking.
Mandarin was the dialect in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really fun to read up on and find out that Chow Yun-fat had to do like 28 takes for his very first scene just so he can get the language right. And he was just like, never in my career have I ever had to do that before. And like, yeah, that would probably be annoying. Like, as an actor, having to do that many takes just so you can get like dialect correct would probably very, very much be annoying. But it worked so well. I mean, I don't, as an American, I don't recognize the many different dialects.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I couldn't tell you the difference between the sounds. Somebody tried to tell me one time that was an international student, and in my lighting class, and I felt like at that moment, okay, yeah, I got the difference between Mandarin and Cantonese now, at least by sound, but that was years ago.
and I feel like even still I wouldn't be able to hear it. It would take years of like learning these languages to be like, okay, what that person's speaking is Mandarin.
Right.
Like, I would get it then. But it really does come across as like a cohesive unit here. Like, again, I'm speaking out my ass because I don't know shit, but to me, I don't notice anything. It all sounds like one beautiful fucking language that everybody is speaking in union. Like, it's really great. And it was really funny to learn that, that all these, different nationality actors came together to make something so beautiful like this, because I would have just assumed racistly that they were all Chinese when they're not.
We're racist.
But
sorry,
we are racist.
guys.
That's really what it is. And I can only accept that I'm racist and promise to try to do better. But
to be better, we will be better. Just by having this experience right now.
That's damn right. But yeah, you find out through the flashbacks that Jin Yu and Low Dark Cloud, they have a romance going on. Low Dark Cloud steals her comb, and that shit don't fly with Jin Yu. She runs after him to get her comb back. Basically, she gets kidnapped by him. She eventually works her way out of it, runs away again. He finds her because she's in a fucking desert and trying to like go through a desert by herself, and he's like, please don't do this. He's just like, I didn't kidnap you out of spite. He's like, he's like, at the same time, like, you were attacking me, like, whatever. He starts to have feelings for her, like,
he also, like, I don't recall him ever actually kidnapping her. She gets she becomes unconscious in several different occasions, and he picks her up and takes her to a camp. And when she wakes up, she's like, no, fuck you, because her perception of him is, you're a barbarian, basically.
Exactly.
So she's afraid of him at first. And, to be fair, he did raid her coach.
Exactly.
But he said, like, leave the women alone, just take all the things, kill the guards.
Yeah, I really enjoy that relationship that they have. At the same time, it's just another example of Jin Yu's life where somebody else is trying to tell her to do something. And to be fair to Low Dark Cloud, he really does love her. He has passionate, genuine feelings about her, and she too has feelings about him. But it's just another person in her life, because he's like, please live with me here in the desert. Be with my group here. The people that my barbarians, if you will, like, be with me and all of us.
Step riders.
Thank you. There we go. But then she's just like, no, I am, she's like, I'm a governess. I have duties. I have, a family that I have to honor and everything. And he eventually is like, okay, go back to your family and I will win your name. He's like, I will find, I will do great stuff that when I show up again, they'll have to accept me as, as your betrothed, if you will. But when he shows up, he hasn't done anything, and she's already about to get married. But she still has feelings for him too. She's just kind of pissed off at him for, letting her leave. But then, again, she just didn't want to be trapped in another single freaking relationship. It's a lot, man. There's a lot to this movie. And it's only 2 hours.
Only 2 hours.
It really doesn't feel that long when you watch it.
They, in this movie, talk faster than the other movie. And so I did miss more of the subtitles in this movie than the other.
That's fair.
And for that, it did... I did find it a little more taxing to watch this movie, but that does not take away how beautiful the story is. Yeah. And, I think it's trying to actually say a lot. I guess I'm kind of going into closing statements here.
That's totally fine, yeah.
I do feel like it's trying to say a lot about, how the patriarchal society holds a woman to do certain things. They are not free to choose their own life. But they even show how that is the case for some men as well. Like Chow Yun-fat's character, he feels very socially constrained from being able to, be with Michelle Yeoh's character. And oh man, and that last scene too with them, that's really good.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking.
It seems to me that the Eastern cultures like hyperbole quite a lot, but it really works for this high action romance kind of thing. It's a bit melodramatic, but I like it, and I give it a full face. Nice. Very good movie. I love the choreography.
Oh my gosh, the choreography's great.
It's great.
Yeah, I love everything about this movie. The romance, the whole story in general. Like I love a romance that, obviously I want a happy ending. I want everybody to have a happy ending in the romances I watch. But real life doesn't work that way. And I love this movie so much for focusing on all these romances, building them up so much, and then kind of in the last 30 minutes just pulling the rug out from under you many times. To the definitely. Point where it's just like when the final scene happens between Jin and Low Dark Cloud, I'm literally crying. Like, I'm just like, God damn, it's so... it builds so much to a point where it's like when it happens, I'm not upset, but I'm upset. It's like I'm happy with the ending they give me, but God damn, did I not want this ending? Like, because I want something more.
It worked, but I mean, and it's in a tragedy too. Like this,
exactly.
It's very much tragedy. The thing.
I love a good tragic romance.
I think tragedy is just... I was definitely in love with tragedy in our undergrad. I got over it during the pandemic. I figured there's enough tragedy.
That's fair. I just think they make the more lasting stories, and that's really why this movie is part of my top 20. Is because this movie, it stuck with me for so long because I'm a hopeless romantic and I love this story and I give it 4 stars because it's so fucking beautiful. And and I know there's not much to analyze about the ending, but I do love hearing people's thoughts on it, what it means to them and all that kind of stuff. I have my own opinion about it. I won't share it here because I don't want to spoil the film because I want people to go out there and witness it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons. Yeah. It's a damn
beautiful
good movie.
Language, by the way. You're reading subtitles, and not being a native speaker, you're missing probably a lot. But the sound of the language is very pleasant. At least with how these actors present it, and. I enjoyed listening to the film.
And speaking of the subtitles too, it was Ang Lee who actually wrote the subtitles because he is Western educated, so he knew how to better broadcast it to a more to the English and American audiences, because that was his goal. He wanted it to be a big international thing, and it fucking was. It was a huge international film, though. Multinational, I guess.
We had it on VHS. So that's really saying something.
Here's what it was. It was the first foreign language film to break $100 million in the U.S. That's what it was.
Wow.
Very, very popular here. Yeah. So yeah, definitely check it out. Fucking beautiful. We're going to watch it again while we take a soda pop break.
Hell yeah. At least we're going to take a soda pop break. Okay, we'll be right back.
Exactly. I love you.
Ooh. Ooh. The house. The flying daggers.
House of flying daggers.
I wish I could throw daggers. I mean, I'm sure I could throw daggers, but I wish that I could throw daggers like they throw daggers.
Oh yeah, like bend it like the bullets in Wanted.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but fucking love it, man. That's that's what you're signing up for in a Wuxia film is if physics go out the fucking window and you just have a good time.
Yeah, there's a mysticality to it, and I really like that. Yeah,
and it's also very it's very beautiful to watch too, because it's like there's so many things that'll happen in a Wuxia film that, you know, obviously in real life you wouldn't see it, but in a Wuxia film you're like, oh damn, like what the fuck? Like, you know, you get really into it. It's really fucking fun. And you know, speaking of Wuxia films, Zhang Yimou, who is the director and also one of the writers of House of Flying Daggers, iconic master of the art. Like, man has done so many films, as you know, as when we were watching the movie.
Does Hero and some other Hero things.
Right. A Hero, recently Shadow. Hold on, I got it pulling up here. What was the other one? There was another big one, I thought. I can't find it on the list here because there's so many damn films. I guess, just House of Flying Daggers in and of itself is one, obviously. Like, man's a freaking legend. He's got this stuff down pat, and what he really does have down pat is his fucking cinematography. Here, his cinematographer is Zhao Zhoding. I'm so sorry, I definitely mispronounced that. But yeah, like, every time I've watched this movie, which again is only twice, it's fucking beautiful. Like, yeah, you can attest, we had the fortune of watching this one together. And there are so many times where they would change to a new shot, and I would just be like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like it's so damn beautiful, the imagery in this film, like just from the camera alone.
I thought the cinematography was. Both movies had great cinematography, but in this,
right,
it was amazing. Really,
I'm blown away. And then we looked it up too because we were interested in where it was shot. Apparently, a lot of it was shot in Ukraine's Carpathian Mountains. So go Ukraine! Woo woo!
Yeah,
it's amazing. You're a beautiful country. They're doing fine. They're doing just
good?
fine.
Okay, I'm not paying enough attention to the world. I'm sorry.
Russia. From what I heard, Russia was drafting people from their women's prisons because they're running out of troops.
I've heard that they were running out of troops, and I've heard that there is a big plea from the mothers to stop drafting the boys.
Yeah, not to get us canceled in Russia, but you're going to see a lot of mothers being pushed off, falling off balconies pretty soon. I'm sure.
Woo!
Jesus.
Well, it's a good thing we're deep into the episode. That might get us demonetized. So, House of Flying Daggers is set in China, even though it's partially filmed elsewhere. And it is quite earlier than the other film. This is set in 1859.
859.
That's what I meant to say, and is not what I said. This is set way earlier at this later date than the other movie. So this is in 859 in the Tang Dynasty. I would guess Tang, and so the government's really kind of fallen apart. And there's all these rebel factions and stuff, and one of them in this particular film is called the House of Flying Daggers. And there are these really, I guess they're police officers. That's what the English description on the rental said. But I don't know if that's what you would necessarily call them. There's soldiers later in the film, so maybe they are some kind of judicial, street justice branch, whatever. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sound smarter than I am, but... So, anywho, Andy Lau and Takeshi Kinichiro, who he's a Japanese-Taiwanese actor and singer, and Andy Lau is a Hong Kong actor and singer. And apparently he's like...
Singers. That's exciting.
Yeah, apparently Andy Lau is like one of the best singers, Cantonese singers. Canto pop is what they call it. Yeah, and he's also considered one of the best Hong Kong film actors too.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, Andy Lau is playing, he's playing
Captain Leo.
It does say 2 police officers here. But he's playing I think they're both captains, I guess.
They are both captains, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Leo
and that's one of the weird
Jin,
things is like you get the impression watching it that Takeshi playing Captain Jin, as you just said, is kind of an underling for Captain Leo, because I guess they're not. I guess they're on the same rank. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both bean eating friends.
Yes, they like to eat beans, especially Jen. And they eat beans together. Anyhow, Leo sends out Jen. It does seem like he's the one's doing the sending out, but they're conferring together and deciding that Jen's going to go undercover to this. They don't call it a pleasure house; it's a show house, and I'm sure prostitution goes on there, but maybe not legally.
Right. I do believe they call it a brothel. Also,
at some point, I think somebody calls it a brothel. Yeah. I think Leo calls it that. But he goes there, is pretending, air quotes, to be super drunk. And he wants to be introduced to May, who is supposedly the daughter of the leader of the House of Flying Daggers.
Exactly, yeah. Because she's blind. They know that the leader of the House of Flying Daggers' daughter is blind.
Yes,
and he wants to meet the blind showgirl.
That's right. And she comes out, and she dances for him shortly, and then he gets way too handsy, and the police show up, including Captain Leo, and some of the police are like, "Hey, he's a police officer too." They don't say that actually, do they? But it did seem like some of them recognized them. But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I do think there is one person. I think he says that. I think Jin says, "I'm a captain. Get your hands off me," and then they just drag him out of there. Maybe. I think it was all part of the whole. I don't know. I don't really know.
But it doesn't make sense later if that's what he says. But anyhow,
now I'm thinking it might not have happened.
So anyhow, basically, Jen is like trying to rape May. When the police come in and get them off, but you're supposed. I feel like supposed to have this other layer back where that Jen is only doing this because he knows that the police are going to break it up. He's trying to be convincing, but it's still really gross. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is. It is very off-putting that the spoiler for the current synopsis we're telling. Jen and May do eventually start having this romance of sorts that's brewing. And yeah, it is very weird that it starts off with a fake attempt at rape. Because as you said, he's just trying to be convincing so that the cops would show up. And that's the whole point, is to have them show up, and then he can further solidify his undercoverness. Mm-hmm. And and it is very off-putting that that's the beginning of it. But as you said, it's important having that back layer there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So they bring her back to the police headquarters and threaten to, torture her to get information. And Jen, once again undercover, breaks her out of prison. And apparently while they're on the run, and a lot of fun things happen. He like he's like banging on his sword so that she knows that he's far away, so that she can bathe in this little pond that he made in the swamp or whatever. I don't know, but he ties it to a tree so that it's hitting the tree so that he can watch. And she's like, I know you're there. Can you hand me my clothes?
Yeah, that's part of the fun, is like he's kind of seeing how well she is with her skills, you know, her being blind, and yet she's also very skilled and talented at fighting, at dancing, and all this stuff.
Earlier when she's still dancing, I forgot that this scene's probably my favorite scene, where I don't remember what the style of dance is called, but apparently it is a game where you mimic somebody called Echo. Okay. But anyways, Leo was flicking beans at these big standing drums, and then she's supposed to use her water sleeves to hit the same beat and do dancing with. It's a pretty amazing scene, which she ends by grabbing a sword with her water sleeve to kill Leo with.
It's good stuff, man. I love it.
It's great.
But like, yeah, basically what ends up happening is, you know, Jen and May are on the run, and they're being followed by, you know, Leo and his soldiers. But eventually Leo does have this conversation with Jen where he says, it's gone beyond my hands. The general is now in charge. He's sending his best soldiers. You're kind of just fucked. You're undercover, but your life doesn't matter anymore because the soldiers don't know who you are. They just think you're with their target.
Yeah, the soldiers have been told to fight to kill. And so I, like, for reasons of the plot, man, I don't want to give everything away, but I also want to talk about the end, too.
I think it's fair to say, to give the love triangle.
Okay.
I think it's fair to talk that.
Okay, well, I think we do have to spoil one thing for that. So Leo secretly has been undercover for the House of the Flying Daggers.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of double-crossing in this movie.
Yes, so had he ever told anybody about Jen's secret mission? Who knows? Probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. Besides the House of the Flying Daggers, who he's, you know, being ordered to do this for. So, yes, years ago, he was in love with May. They were kind of an item. And then he got sent on this mission and has been being a police officer with Jen. Yeah. Eating beans. And
and now Jen and May have their own brewing relationship.
They're eating beans now too.
They're eating beans, man. And Leo, he's had to sit and watch this from afar, watch his lover fall in love with the man that he has called a brother for the last 3 years, basically. Mm-hmm. And you know, it devastates him. And there's a moment where he's talking to Jen, where Leo's talking to Jen, and he's telling him, he's like, I've had long sleepless nights on this road, you know, following you around and doing all this stuff. And he's just like, I'm tired of it. I'm devastated. I'm distraught.
Yeah, basically he's apologizing that he put his friend in this situation.
Yeah, but you as the viewer, though, when you're watching it, not knowing that Leo is undercover for the House of Daggers, you're kind of just like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Jen's the one whose life is at stake here.
Right,
like, you're distraught. You're having these sleepless nights. Like, I know that your friend's in danger, but come on, man.
Really, he's worried about somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. When you know what's going on, it's so. There's so many layers to this film. It really does improve with multiple views, like, because you pick up on a lot of that shit.
Both films, going to compare both films here now, because I'm really not sure what else to say about the plot. The plot is deceptively simple with as much back and forth as it goes.
All I want to say about the plot is it comes down to one of the best fight scenes ever. I love the long sword fight scene. Yeah, that they had trouble when they were filming it because snow fell earlier than expected, and so the filmmakers kind of just rolled with it, and it makes this long fight scene at the end feel like it takes place over multiple seasons. Yeah, it just seems like these two dudes have been fighting for years. Or, well, not for years, but for months. It's really cool how the filmmakers just rolled with it, because it's like weather came and ruined their shooting schedule, and instead of being disgruntled and being like, well, now we don't know what to do, they're just like, fuck it, we'll just go with it.
This snow is awesome. It's really fucking coming down. It's like clumps. It's pretty awesome. One time, though, it did make the break of the 180-degree rule very obvious because the snow was going completely in the other direction. But it worked for the fight choreography. Yeah,
I feel bad to talk Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons for 40 minutes and then only do this for 20.
But
this one is really is hindered by spoilers. Like,
I don't want to give away too much. One of the things that I really that makes me upset about the movie, I think you as well, is a spoiler that I don't want to give away. And it does. I think it diminishes the character a little bit once it happens. Right. Also, some things that Leo does makes him less likable. And but we'll leave that for you. I really enjoy this movie.
Exactly. I really enjoy it too. I do think we should leave it for the viewers. But I will say in my closing statement, what gets me in this film is the cinematography. The directing is beautiful. The storytelling is beautiful. That final fight scene's great. Again, I'm a sucker for romance. Here, I don't feel like the romance works as well as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Because, with all of the double crossing, the hidden meanings, everything that's going on, it's really hard, even on multiple watches, when you get to the end, it's really hard to know where all these characters lie in their relationships, what they actually feel, what their intentions are. And when the ending happens, you're still kind of left wondering, because it's like it kind of ends in a way that you're just like, man, I don't really know what person A's thoughts are on person B or person C, but again, it's fucking beautiful. The fight in the bamboo forest,
that was the last thing I wanted to really talk about, because they have the bamboo scenes in both movies. The one in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon's pretty cool because they're like swinging from the very top. They do a bit of that in Housefly and Daggers too, but it's shot from the bottom because the heroes are fleeing from these soldiers in the bamboo trees. But both scenes are pretty cool. But God, just the way they capture the green in the House of Flying Daggers is so awesome. And the bamboo spears going through the bamboo tree trunks is awesome. Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, the use of color in this movie, Zhang Yimou, the director, did a wonderful job mixing that in with his storytelling. And it's if you want it in analysis videos, I'm sure there's analysis videos out there just talking about the color used in this film.
Yes.
Because
I'm sure there are.
Beyond beautiful. It's so fucking well done.
The Eastern culture's really got a thing about colors more than we do, for sure.
And there's a lot on color theory, how it's both deliberate, ironic, all that kind of stuff. And again, what gets me for this film is the cinematography. It's so beautiful to watch that I'm going to watch it again and again. Yeah. The fight scenes are phenomenal. Zhang Ziyi's performance is great.
I don't know if we actually said that she plays the leading woman, May.
Right. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, Zhang Ziyi, who plays Jin in Crouching Tiger, plays May in this. She's incredible in both films, but I really love her in this one. I think her character in this one is very strong. I think Jin is still a stronger character, just in and of herself for her story.
I think they're both very strong characters, but since the first one is about the oppression of women, she has less agency. Yeah.
Yeah, and here she's just a very powerful woman who does all these crazy, incredible feats. And you're just really wildly impressed. Yeah. But I give this one 4 stars. However, in regards to our Wuxia genre Smackdown here,
or Zhang Zuzi actor spotlight.
That's fair. It could be that too. But as a sucker for a good romance, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon wins for me by far, because I love that romantic tale, whereas in House of Flying Daggers, it's still up in the air where the romance is at. You know, there's a lot of romance. Don't get me wrong, it is far more a romance film than it is a fighting film. But 100%. It's hard to know where the romance lands. Like, I mean, obviously you know where it lands. When you get to the end, you know who loves who. But it's not realized. It's not fulfilled. You don't get as much from it as you want to. Whereas in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I feel like everything is realized and fulfilled. You know exactly who loves who, where their love ends and begins, and it's heartbreaking. Here it's heartbreaking, but it's also kind of like, man, you know, person A, person B, person... It's a love triangle here. Whereas all the relationships are defined in Crouching Tiger. There is no actual love triangle.
That's fair. You know, I can agree with you on a lot of points. I give this movie 100% a full face. I just think it's such a fun ride through and through. Like, there's a couple of moments where you're like, gosh, stop being such asshole men. But, you know, I feel like you're going to get that in a lot of movies, especially in movies that aren't in our culture that is just so overtly aware of the maltreatment of women right now. So anyhow, I just really enjoy it. I think it has a lot more, much more magical feeling than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, even though that has that feeling as well. I think they're both fine films, but I think personally I like House of Flying Daggers a little bit better.
It's totally fair.
I agree with you that the story probably is stronger in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I just am excited a lot more by House of Flying Daggers. So that's where it goes to that.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. And we'll let that be the episode. That's where it ends. It's a quick, abrupt halt.
Quick, just like one of these movies.
Yeah, just like one of these films. But we're running out of time, so I just want to thank you all for listening. We love having you all here every single week. I'm the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.